Hello, my name is Anthony Lupa. In baseball, nonverbal communication between umpires, players, and coaches is essential to the game and how it is played. Without it, I don't know where the game of baseball would be. For example, I'm going to make a sign and we can see if you can figure out what I'm trying to say. To me, that means hit and run, but in the game of baseball, it can mean numerous different things to different players, coaches, and to me that's the fun of the game because it's almost like a language. It's different for everybody and it takes time to learn it and understand it. And that sign was just tip of the iceberg. Throughout this speech, I will cover how umpires value and use nonverbal communication to do their job, coaches and how they use nonverbal communication to communicate within players and other coaches, and how players need to understand and execute these instructions given by the coaches and to communicate with their other players. To kick this thing off, I'm going to discuss how umpires use it and value it. In baseball, umpires control almost everything in the game. They use it with verbal, but mainly nonverbal gestures. According to Northwestern High School's assistant baseball coach, Troy Lupa, he said that umpires have a universal language, so it's known throughout the world, and each signal means basically the same things. Other umpires do it differently, but they all mean the same thing. And in the Little League International Umping Handbook, Make the Right Call, it discusses how clear nonverbal gestures help keep the game safe while helping the coaches and the players understand the game. A few signs that Coach Troy Lupa taught me were out, safe, strike, foul ball, and a home run to signal the players going around the bases. And those are just the basic calls, but they're all very important and it's a huge part of the game. Now that we've discussed umpires and how they use it, it's time for the coaches and how they do it. After an interview conducted on April 4th, 5th, and the 10th with Coach David Crail, Coach Jovan Kroll, and Coach Troy Lupa of Northwestern High School, I learned a ton of how coaches look at nonverbal communication. During my interview with Coach Kroll and Coach Crail, I learned that it was very important in a coach's strategy and game plan, and each gesture has its own meaning to what they want their players to do. One example of that is like the one I stated earlier in the speech about the hit and run. That's a very important sign that the third base coach usually gives to the runner on base. Some other signs that Coach Troy Lupa gave me were tagging up. So when there's a guy on second base, you're gonna hold your hands up, and when the outfielder catches the ball, he's gonna throw his hands down to signal that he caught it, and then the runner is going to proceed to the next base. Then if a batter hits the ball and the coach wants him to proceed to the next base, he's gonna point towards the base that he wants him to go to, and he's gonna move his hand in circular motion. And the stop at the base is so if a guy's running to third base and the coach wants him to stop, he's going to throw his hands up to make him stop. And in these interviews, throughout the interviews with the Northwestern coaching staff, I learned that it was very essential to them in how they convey their message with players and other coaches throughout the game. Now that coaches create these gestures, it's up to the players to understand and execute these plays when they go out and play the game. I've played, coached, and umpired a majority of my life, and I've learned that it seems to be most difficult for players to go out there and execute these because when you're in the heat of the moment and always on the run, it can be hard for players to understand the signals as you go along throughout the game. While interviewing Coach Kroll, he stated that players need to go out there and understand any gesture when needed. Executing these gestures isn't just about going out there and making the right play, but it's conveying the message throughout the whole team so everybody's on the same page to make the right play. Some examples of nonverbal gestures that players can make are when they're on defense, the catcher can make a sign on if there's a guy on first and third, either throw it down, throw it through, or fake a throw. That's just the very basics of it. And then on offense, if there's a runner on base and a batter, the coaches usually make a sign, and it's up to the players to acknowledge each other and to make sure that they're on the same page so they can make the right play. That concludes how players use nonverbal communication. I hope this information has helped you understand nonverbal communication in baseball. Throughout this speech, we have covered how umpires use and value nonverbal communication, how coaches use it and convey their message with other coaches and players, and how players need to understand and execute these gestures when needed. In baseball, nonverbal communication isn't as recognized as much as it should be. If you ever happen to watch a baseball game, whether it's on TV or in person, just take a look at how the players, umpires, and coaches use nonverbal communication, because it's everywhere. Wherever you look at a baseball game, it's gonna be there. And hopefully one day it'll be recognized as much as it should be. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you'll have a wonderful rest of your day.